This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, Dunedin's Edgar Centre has welcomed many visitors this week with the city's annual Polyfest. An antique squadron of 10 Australian aircraft has landed at the Wanaka Transport and Toy Museum. And favourite TV and movie theme songs will ring out for this year's Stars on Ice fundraiser in Queenstown. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Dunedin's Edgar Centre has welcomed many visitors this week with the city's annual Polyfest. The showcase of Southern School-specific cultural groups is always a noisy and colourful affair, with this year's event even bigger than in previous years.
Power, passion and pride. Cultures from across the Pacific are well represented at the 26th Annual Polyfest in Dunedin's Edgar Centre. The event is run by Te Mana Ahua Ake Trust, and co-chair Pip Laufiso says more groups are coming from further away to take part this year.
Every year we do have new groups, different groups come, so this year we've been able to welcome a number of new groups as well, who haven't been here before. So we've had Cromwell College, for example, perform this afternoon. And also Fenwick, all the way from Oamaru.
Laufiso says last year's silver anniversary milestone was a huge event for all of the people involved and led to some changes to the behind-the-scenes running of the event.
So last year we had our 25th event, and this year we've been able to consolidate a whole lot of things. I think we've had a lot of focus on separating our governance structure and our operations, because for 25 years we've pretty much operated on a 100% volunteer base. That's been really challenging, and so that's been really positive.
Groups taking part are from primary, intermediate and secondary schools across Otago and beyond, and this year Laufiso says more than 150 groups are taking part.
I think for the last couple of years we've had about 160 groups register, and then one or two might drop off, so we're tracking it at 158 groups are performing across the 5 days.
It takes an army of volunteers to corral this many performers, artists, crew, whānau and supporters, and Laufiso says they're fortunate to have so many willing and able helpers, but there's always room in the waka for more.
It's quite a big event to be running across 5 days, but we are so blessed with such a great group of people who come back year after year. We've got a solid base, but it is challenging to get our volunteers.
Polyfest 2019 is scheduled to wrap up with a final session beginning at 9 a.m. tomorrow. In Dunedin, The South Today.
A University of Otago's study of environmental DNA on Loch Ness has resulted in almost 2,500 articles in over 10 countries. The university says the study has received the most coverage of any piece of research at Otago. The University Council was told earlier this week of the amount of times Professor Gimmel's work on DNA and Loch Ness was covered worldwide. The DNA study concluded giant eels could not be ruled out as the cause of monster sightings in the loch. The university sent 2 communications staff over to Scotland to follow Neil Gimmel during some of his research of the lake. The university is not willing to say whether they value the research or coverage of the topic the most. An antique squadron of 10 Australian aircraft has landed at the Wanaka Transport and Toy Museum. Coming from a recently closed Sydney museum, the collection includes military and light aircraft, as well as a large transport helicopter.
Checking up on a large Sikorsky transporter helicopter, one of the 10 unusual aircraft which have been shipped by container from Australia to the Wanaka Transport and Toy Museum. And here, this Russian MiG Fighter 15 jet is just one of several military aircraft in the consignment.
Well, we've got like the Vampire. It's not a standard Vampire, it's one that was used in the Navy for on and off the aircraft carriers, so it's a little bit different to what we had.
Rhodes says they've been working on getting the planes out of Australia since November last year, with a lot of hold-ups, including the Australian Defence Force listing the MiG fighter jet as a weapon of mass destruction.
Unfortunately, there's been a lot of red tape hold things up that made life very stressful along the way. While we thought it should have been a simple 30-day turnaround, has turned out to be quite some months.
While the planes are to be lovingly restored, Rhodes says they won't ever traverse the skies again.
We won't fly any of them. As much as some of the experimental and home-built ones could be flown, it's not what we're going to do, because if they ever crashed and destroyed themselves, it's history that's gone.
Rhodes is also planning to acquire all the commercial aircraft used by Air New Zealand, including a DC-8 currently in Brazil and a Lockheed Electra turboprop which brought the Beatles to New Zealand in 1964. In Wanaka, the South Today.
A person has been taken to Southland Hospital with moderate injuries after a two-vehicle crash on Bluff Highway. Emergency services were called to the scene around 2 p.m. today and worked to free a person trapped in a car for a time. About 7 police cars, 2 fire appliances and 2 ambulances attended. Police believe the driver of the car has sustained moderate injuries while the truck driver was uninjured. They say the cause of the crash isn't currently known. St John says one patient was taken to hospital while another person was treated for minor injuries at the scene. Favourite TV and movie themed songs will ring out for this year's Star on Ice fundraiser. The event will see Queenstown skaters take to the ice rink, dressed up and performing to the music of television-themed songs.
The Ice Arena in Queenstown, where local skaters will be putting on a
Okay.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy 1 pair, save $25. Buy 2, save $60, and we've got a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Welcome back. A power outage in Queenstown affected many homes and businesses for a couple of hours. The Queenstown Lakes District Council says the outage was a result of a fault and affects consumers across the resort town, including the industrial area. The fault was repaired, but power was not expected to be restored until mid-afternoon. Meanwhile, the Vodafone mobile network has been down or degraded across the lower South Island since about 10 a.m. The affected areas include Mount Cook and Twizel, down to the Catlins and Tokanui. Otago University International Relations expert Professor Robert Patman says Simon Bridges' populist and partisan take on China and online extremism could come back to bite him. In the latest edition of Global Insight, Professor Patman tells ODT journalist Bruce Munro that we are witnessing a break in New Zealand's long-standing tradition of bipartisan foreign policy.
Opposition leader Simon Bridges has been making comments about two of New Zealand's hottest foreign affairs topics: the Christchurch mosque shootings and our relationship with China. Welcome, Robert.
Morning, Bruce.
It seems that Mr. Bridges is making an important foreign policy positioning for National. Let's start with China. He was recently visiting that country, and with two of his MPs, Jerry Brownlee and Jian Yang, he met with the head of China's State Security Ministry. How do you read that?
Well, it's a significant meeting, high-level meeting, and I think China have paid the visiting delegation from New Zealand, national opposition MPs, a considerable compliment. But looking at it from, in broad political terms, it seems to be that China is signalling, I think, that they want to boost Mr. Bridges' standing in New Zealand's domestic politics. Mr. Bridges has had quite a tough time as opposition leader. It's always difficult when you're in opposition. And yeah, I think so. In a sense, that's how I'd read the meeting. They've certainly, I think, gone to quite considerable lengths to stress the importance of Mr. Bridges' meeting. Yeah, they've certainly met with some high-level figures.
Mr. Bridges gave high praise for China's economic transformation. Was he just being polite?
I think he was more than polite. I think he was positively gushy. And it was a narrative that he delivered that sounded strange to New Zealand ears, because he went out of his way to praise the leading role of the Communist Party of China, which you often hear in Chinese media, but it sounded strange coming from an opposition leader in New Zealand. He was so enthusiastic that he actually extended the length of the Chinese economic miracle from 40 years to 70 years. But putting aside that slip, and we all make them, so I'm not trying to be petty here, he did come across as extremely upbeat on the relationship between China and New Zealand. He also praised, interestingly, the Chinese Communist Party for driving that relationship. Again, that would sound strange to New Zealand ears, because it's no secret that New Zealand had played its fair part, more than its share, in bringing about the closer economic relationship, in particular the signing of the free trade agreement with China in 2008, which was a first for a developed country at that stage. So yeah, I think he was certainly, from China's point of view, the perfect visitor.
Also this week, Mr Bridges has said that the Christchurch call, this attempt to get some international agreement on how to tackle online extremism, he said that it hasn't achieved anything. Has it?
I thought that was an extraordinary comment, which actually contradicts what he was saying in Beijing. In his interview in Beijing, to his credit, Mr Bridges was saying how important multilateralism and interdependence was, and why he lamented the erosion of the rules-based system. And quite rightly, Mr Bridges said that it was not in New Zealand's interest to see the erosion of institutions like the WTO, which has been subject to some pressure, as he quite explicitly mentioned, by the Trump administration. So on the one hand, he's extolling multilateralism. On the other hand, he's saying he doesn't approve of Jacinda Ardern's attempt to come up with a multilateral solution to curb online extremism. So there was a contradiction there. But the second thing is, he seemed to be indulging in populist language. He was saying this doesn't really matter to ordinary New Zealanders. I can't think of, given what a game changer that appalling attack was, 51 people killed, I think the whole country was shocked. And what it did do, more than anything else, was show that our country, like it or dislike it, is linked to international trends. And unfortunately, one of the trends has not been only the rise of Islamist extremism, but we've also seen white nationalist extremism, and we saw it explode to horrific effect in Christchurch in the 15th of March of this year. And I think it was very, I think he should be very cautious about his language, because it seemed to me strategic folly to say that these issues, such as the events which led to Christchurch, do not matter to ordinary New Zealanders. I can think most people, if they do not have security in their everyday lives, everything else is put at risk. I can think of nothing that matters more to most New Zealanders than making sure that we're doing everything possible to avoid a repetition of the appalling events in Christchurch. And that involves multilateral efforts, which he'd previously been praising in Beijing. When he came home, he rubbished the Prime Minister's attempts to push a multilateral agenda. He said it hasn't achieved anything so far. But look, this is just 6 months. He would be the first to admit that a free trade agreement often takes years. And what we don't say after 6 months of negotiation, it hasn't achieved anything yet. So I was puzzled by his comments.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Kien Korishali.
And you can watch the full interview online at odt.co.nz. After the break on The South Today, Temuka has another reason to be famous other than its pottery, and we have tomorrow's weather for you, so stay with us.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274. If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Thanks for staying with us. Back to our earlier story, favourite TV and movie themed songs will ring out for this year's Star on Ice fundraiser. The event will see Queenstown skaters take to the ice rink dressed up and performing to the music of television theme songs.
The Ice Arena in Queenstown, where local skaters will be putting on a fundraising show for the public next month.
This year's theme is TV themes, so they'll be skating to very popular TV themes and showing their skills and displays on the ice.
This year's Stars on Ice performers, comprising of local identities and members of the Queenstown Ice Skating Club, are halfway through their 8 weeks of training.
We have 8 couples all skating over 8 weeks to learn their routines, and then we put on a wonderful display, glitz and glamour.
Last year's event raised $7,000 and they're hoping to top that number this year. Gibson says the fundraiser is very important for the ice skating club's ongoing success.
We use the money that we raise to support the skaters, using the ice time for practice. So the more we raise, the more practice that they can do, the more competitions they can actually attend.
The 5th annual Stars on Ice event will be held mid-October, with tickets available via the Stars on Ice Facebook page. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Pop into Temuka Library on a Monday afternoon and you might find a group strumming away on ukuleles. The town now has its own ukulele group, complete with a catchy name, Temukalele. The group's youngest spin-off, Temukalele Tamariki, is for school children and meets at Temuka Library on a Monday afternoon. Organisers say the sessions attract close on a dozen youngsters keen to improve their ukulele skills. Once the children learn how to play the ukulele, they can then progress onto the guitar once they're older. And Thursday evenings see the main Tumukulele group gather at the nearby Anglican church. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Dunedin's Edgar Centre has welcomed thousands of visitors this week with the city's annual Polyfest, celebrating many Polynesian cultures. An antique squadron of Australian aircraft has landed at the Wanaka Transport and Toy Museum, including military and light aircraft as well as a large transport chopper. And the cold doesn't bother them anyway, as favourite TV and movie theme songs rang out at this year's Stars on Ice fundraiser in Queenstown. And time now for a look at the weather. Here we are looking at the situation. A cold front will bring some showers and southwest airflow tomorrow, but a fine Saturday lies ahead for the region. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect showers and highs of 13 degrees. Across to the northeast, where Nelson and Blenheim are due for a wet day with a high of 18 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura expect a wet day and a high of 17 degrees. Christchurch and Ashburton, you're both wet as well. 15 for Christchurch and 13 for Ashburton. Looking at the southern towns, expect moderate southwesterlies and showers across the region. The Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore all aim for 9 degrees. Travelling westward to central Otago, you should plan for moderate southwesterlies with showers across the region. Queenstown, Wanaka and Tiana, you're all heading for a high of 9 degrees, while Alexandra, you make it to double figures at 10. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru, you should plan for a southwest change with some rain and 11 degrees. Further inland, Twizel and Amarama are set also for some wet weather with southwesterlies. You'll both reach just 10 degrees. In Dunedin, mostly cloudy tonight with westerly winds, with an overnight low of 9. Some rain overnight with a colder southwest change, but it's going to be dry tomorrow morning and then followed with showers from lunchtime through to the afternoon, heading for a high of 10 and a low of 6. Mostly cloudy and cool on Saturday with breezy northeasterlies, a high of 10 and a low of 4. And moving to Invercargill, rain easing to showers tonight with cold southwesterlies and an overnight low of 7. Showers and fresh gusty cold southwesterlies tomorrow, clearing late in the day, a high of 9 and a low of 5. And fine with long sunny periods and some cloud on Saturday with moderate westerlies, a high of 11 and a low of 8. And that's all from the South Today team this Thursday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.